orientation for the spring semester of 2021. One, thank you all for being mentors. I always want to start with just a level of gratitude and appreciation. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being mentors. Your work, your input, your volunteer ability and willingness to volunteer is so critical to this mentor program thriving, because we recognize that students are in a very volatile state. And I would imagine that so are you. It's a pandemic. It's kind of crazy out here right now. But the fact that you're taking the time to be a mentor, to give back to students is so incredible. It's so amazing. And I wanted to let you know how grateful we are at Ambition Emotion, and just from your organization or university that you're participating and engaging as a mentor, because there's so much wisdom, so much insight your student is going to learn from you over the course of the semester. And it's insanely rewarding. I'll share with you a little bit about why it's so rewarding through the duration of this orientation. So to get going, let's talk about just other ways. And I want to talk about our mission, our goal, our vision is a world where the vast majority of people, not some people, but the vast majority of people are excited to go to work. When they are there, their expectations meet reality. And when they come home, they feel fulfilled. Our goal is to help create communication opportunities so then we can break down silos, break down barriers, and ultimately thrive in the work that we're doing. As a mentor, you are helping achieve that. And by the way, if you're interested or potentially intrigued by this, one of the things that we do outside of our higher ed mentor programs is we run corporate and executive mentorship, where essentially we help companies connect their employees together for mentorship, as well as connect leaders within companies with other leaders for mentorship too. It's just another way to gain objectivity, learn from somebody else, and just improve performance over time. If you're at all interested in any of this, please email Megan. So support@ambition-in-motion.com. By the way, Megan will be your main point of contact throughout the course of this semester. But if there's anything that you're thinking to yourself that like, wow, that would be really intriguing, I think my company could use this, or I would love to have a fellow mentor that could help me because I'm in a leadership position. I'd love to have somebody to be vulnerable with and just gain that objectivity. Reach out to Megan. We can talk with you, learn more about, and see if that type of program makes sense. The other way that you can engage with us, and I always want to mention this, is through the mentor blog. So if God forbid you don't have a mentor or mentee this upcoming semester, or if you do have a mentee this upcoming semester, we want to learn about what you're teaching your student. We want to learn about some of the skills, some of the lessons that you've learned through your life. We have a mentor blog. If there's a topic that you would love to write about, we would love to feature you on our website through our guest blog. Please submit all blog submissions to Megan at support@ambition-in-motion.com. We would love to share your wisdom and insight with our community. We'll post it on our blog. It's just a great way to get your message out there to our community, even if you don't have a mentee for the upcoming semester. So let's dive into why we're doing this work. I'm passionate about mentoring. I'm a big believer in vulnerability. I'm passionate about mentoring because I personally needed mentors in my life. And by that, I just mean from age 15 to age 19, I was a drug dealer. And I know that might sound crazy. You might think to yourself like, holy moly, we got a drug dealer running this program. What the heck is here? But yes, from age 15 to age 19, I was a drug dealer. And at the end of my freshman year at Indiana University, I got arrested. I received 5 felony distribution charges. I was expelled from school. I was facing prison time. I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. But shortly after that, I got an opportunity. I had mentors, both personally and professionally, take the time to give me guidance, give me insight, and invest in me, see something in me that I wasn't seeing in myself. And that was so huge to my own personal growth path, my own personal development. And that's kind of how I got started into mentorship. Shortly after getting in trouble, I enrolled in a program in St. George, Utah called At the Crossroads. And in this program, I was getting my life on track. And about a month and a half after moving to Utah, I flew to Indiana to let my family know my life's getting on track. Things are going better for me. And on that flight, I am reading the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And the guy I'm sitting next to on the plane sees me reading this book. And he says, that's an incredible book. We strike up a conversation and we talk for the entire flight. By the time the plane lands, he says, oh, by the way, I'm the director of ground equipment for SkyWest Airlines. What would you think about coming in and doing an internship in our ground equipment department, doing financial analysis? Just internship on the spot. It was insane. I remember my first day on the job, HR was doing the background check. They were doing the fingerprint scan and they go up to Troy. That was this guy's name. And they said, Troy, this kid might go to prison in the next 6 months. What are you thinking? And he stuck his neck out for me. He gave me an opportunity. He gave me a chance. And what was really unique about our mentor relationship was that not only was he pouring into me, but he always came to me for my insight. He always wanted to learn my perspective. And what we ended up learning through over time of facilitating thousands of mentor matches was that notion of having a horizontal mentor, somebody who wasn't just one-sided, one person being the mentor, the other person being the mentee, but actually the senior person being open to learning from the junior person, we found to be super critical to the success and longevity of mentor relationships. And so when I say this story to you, I want you to keep in mind in the back of your head, as a mentor, by being a mentor, it does not mean that you are the only person delivering information. If you can be open to learning from your student mentee, you are much more likely to have a stronger, longer lasting bond with the person you're in a mentor relationship with. I just want to preface that because that is so critical. Anyways, being in Utah, getting this internship, I was really lucky, but these other young men and women in this program I was in and at the Crossroads, they weren't so lucky. They were being systematically denied from opportunities because they had to check that box that said, I've been convicted of a crime. So I went to business owners in the area, in the St. George, Utah community, and I said, hey, don't give this young man or this young woman a job, but be a mentor to him or her. And it was like light bulbs. Everybody said yes. And I fell in love with this. I fell in love with this idea of connecting young people with mentors. I did that for about a year, and shortly after that, I got an opportunity. I got an opportunity to get back into Indiana University, and that's when I started Ambition in Motion, connecting college students to alumni for mentoring relationships. And like I said, now we've facilitated thousands of mentor relationships, and we've started learning about what makes people tick in a mentor relationship and in a mentor bond, one of which is this work orientation. So I don't know if y'all have been into your dashboard yet. I'll show you what the dashboard looks like towards the end of this orientation. But in this dashboard, we show you this little triangle, and it's called your work orientation triangle. Essentially, what we learned was that some people view their work as a job, some people view their work as a career, some people view their work as a calling. And it's a spectrum. It can change throughout your life. So a lot of people pre-pandemic have a very different work orientation than they do right now. It changes, it's fluid. But what we learn is that at any given moment in time, when two people's work orientations are aligned, the likelihood that relationship lasts for 6 months and is productive in quality to both participants is 4 times greater than if it's just based on what you do and your level of experience, which is typically how traditional mentor programs are set up. Ours is based on personality. It's based on work orientation. It's based on why you do your work, because we recognize the why is way more important than the what. So anyways, in terms of if you're curious as to how and why we paired you with your student, that is why. It's based on the research, it's based on the data, and that's essentially why we connected you with your mentee. So before we jump into the 3 keys to success to being a mentor, I would love to just see if there are any questions in the chat area. I'm going to check that out right now. Hey, Sarah, thanks for introducing yourself. Hey, Lucas, thanks for introducing yourself as well. If you all have any questions, I would love to learn it now. If not, we'll jump right back into what we've got in the rest of the agenda. So let's do it. Doesn't look like there are any questions quite yet. So let's dive right back in. So there are 3 keys to being successful as a mentor. It is honing your strategy, honing your story, and honing your state. I said that in reverse order of importance. Essentially, the state is the most important component to being a successful mentor. And by that, I mean physically, what is your state? Like physically, where are you at? Like when you go into your mentor meetings, are you coming in like after a tired, stressful day? Are you coming in all drudgery or like I'm stressed out or I got all these other things going on? Or are you coming in with a clear head in a physical state conducive for being excited or successful? That's a question you have to ask yourself, because as a mentor, when you're in your mentor relationship, your mentee should not get your leftover time. This shouldn't be your, oh, okay, I'm exhausted, but yeah, sure, I'll take this meeting. Because ultimately, you're not giving your best self. You're not making yourself as impactful as you possibly can be. You're only giving your part of yourself. And so one thing you can do to get yourself into a state physically conducive for being successful as a mentor is you can physically move around, because we know that your motions drive your emotions. And by that, all I mean is your motions can change how you feel about yourself. So I'll give you an example of it. I'll get everybody into a physical 10 state right now. What I want you to do for a fun exercise just play with me for a moment. What I want you to do is for the next 30 seconds, I want you to stand up and I want you to shake it out. I want you to shimmy around. I want you to shimmy your shoulders. I want you to move your legs. I want you eventually, you know what I want you to do? I want you to scream at the top of your lungs. On the count of 3, scream. 1, 2, 3. Yeah! Just let it out. Let it loose. Let it go. Scream at the top of your lungs. And I know that might sound crazy. You might have family members in the other room. People might be looking at you weirdly. It does not matter because at the end of the day, how do you feel? How do you feel? Do you feel like a 10? Do you feel at least better than you did before? If you danced it out, shaked it out, yelled it out, if you did that, do you feel better? That's it. I don't care how tired, stressed, mad, angry, dejected you are. If you shake it out, scream it out, yell it out, you are going to change your emotional state because we know your emotions drive your emotions. And another fun way to exercise this, you can also fake laugh. One thing I love to do is if I'm feeling down or I'm not feeling like I've got the energy, I will literally fake laugh for 20 seconds. I'll just go, you might think I'm crazy, but do this for 20 seconds and tell me you don't feel happy. Because what happens is it's neuro-linguistic programming. When your body is laughing, even fake and smiling, your body is your physical body is sending waves to your brain, endorphins to your brain that essentially say, hey, your body's telling you that you're feeling happy. Are you feeling happy right now? I don't know. And your brain says, well, I guess if I'm smiling and I'm laughing, I must be happy. And you just get happier. You feel better. Physically, you're in a better state. So if you're ever going to a mentor meeting with your mentee and you're thinking to yourself, I am not at my physical best, do that. You will get into a physically much more impressive state and a much more conducive state to being successful as a mentor. The second key is your story. What is the story you tell yourself? Why will you or will you not be successful as a mentor? If you tell yourself, well, I'm an introvert, so I don't like building relationships with people, I couldn't possibly be a good mentor, that's a story you're going to eventually manifest. At the end of the day, you're not going to magically turn around and become a great mentor just by putting yourself out there. If you have a mentality that you're going to be bad, you're going to be bad. If you have a mentality that you're going to be good, you are much more likely to be a good mentor. So what is the story you tell yourself? What is your narrative? Why will you be a good mentor? Post in the comment section. I'd love to learn. And this, by the way, any answer is a good answer. There's no such thing as a bad answer to this question. But why do you think you will be a good mentor? Post in the comment section. I would love to learn about it. It's a great exercise in confidence and just boosting yourself up, because at the end of the day, there's no wrong answer for why you will be a good mentor, because any and all of your experiences in the past have led you to where you're at today, which will help you be a great leader and great mentor to your mentee throughout the course of this spring semester. The third key is your strategy. So as you're building this mentor bond with your mentee throughout the course of this spring semester, we're going to run workshops where I'm going to teach skills and tactics and strategies to help you be a better mentor. Essentially, I'm going to give you suggested questions. I'm going to give you suggested insights. I'm going to give you suggested content. And ultimately, what this will do is it'll help you be a better mentor. But ultimately, what we recognize is that there's not a one-size-fits-all strategy for being a good mentor. Some questions will ring really true with your students. Some questions may not. What we know is that the more questions you ask, the more likely you are to succeed as a mentor. By the way, quick tip, it's not about the answers or advice you give that makes you a good mentor. It is the questions you ask. The questions make you a great mentor, not the answers you give. So I really want to preface that, because that is so critical to being a successful mentor, not only in this program, but just in general and in life. So those are the three keys to being successful as a mentor. I'm going to take a moment to pause, look at the question in the chat room, see if y'all have any questions. Jessica, I love that. Thank you for sharing. Amazing. Any questions, anybody? How was the physical exercise? How was screaming, jumping around, shaking it out, fake laughing? How was that? Was that fun? Did you like that? Post in the comment section. I'd love to learn. All right, let's jump into the next part. Why is being a mentor important? One, college students who have mentors are nearly 3 times as likely to thrive in their livelihoods than students who do not have mentors. That is from the Gallup Great Lives, Great Jobs report. Essentially, what we know is that by being a mentor for a student, even if you think it's just a conversation, even if you think like, I don't know how I'm making an impact, I don't know how these questions are helpful, I don't know how these meetings are benefiting my student, what we're telling you is just by being there for this student, you are positively impacting their lives. We know that students who have mentors are nearly 3 times more likely to thrive in their careers than students who do not. College students who have mentors through their organization show greater levels of positive emotional feelings towards their organization as an alumnus. Essentially, you're going to feel so much better about your college experience if you had a mentor that helped you throughout the way. We know that college is expensive. We know that your investment in university and getting this education was not cheap. But we know that if you have a mentor that's helping you work through whatever you're trying to work through or achieve the goals that you're trying to achieve, you are so much more likely to think fondly of your collegiate experience than negatively. Being a mentor is so helpful to helping your students have a really magical and incredible college career, which will lead to an incredible professional career. College students who have mentors are 32% more likely to be engaged in their work compared to students that do not have mentors. That's also from the Gallup-Purdue Great Jobs, Great Lives report. If you help your student by being a mentor to them, they are much more likely to be engaged in the work. That is an incredibly powerful statistic. Think about that. If you are there for your student, even if you feel like, I don't know how I'm helping the student, I don't know if my questions are beneficial, I don't know what I'm doing. By being there for your student, you are essentially changing their life. You are changing their likelihood of actually finding that fulfillment from their work. Back to our original vision. Our vision's a world where the vast majority of people are excited to go to work. When they're there, their expectations meet reality. When they come home, they feel fulfilled. You being a mentor helps them achieve that outcome. You help us achieve this outcome. And it's an incredible place to be. And by the way, this feedback might not necessarily come immediately. Like by the end of the semester, your mentee might not necessarily give you the clear signs that you were the most incredibly helpful, but give them 2-3 years, that relationship with you could be the difference between them loving their work or hating their work. Think about it like that. You're paying it forward for a longer game. And although it might seem not necessarily the most thankful opportunity or activity in the moment, because sometimes students' maturity levels just are in a varying degree of scale, but by being there for your student, you are really creating an incredible impact on them. And then outside of the impact to students, being a mentor is extremely rewarding in the sense that it can teach you new things and provide you somebody in which to bounce things off of. I hear all the time that mentors are learning new things because of their students, and what their students are learning in school right now was different from what they were learning when they were a student. I hear all the time there are things that their students are giving them insight on or asking them questions on that are helping them work towards their own professional goals. Like I said before, this notion of a horizontal mentorship, this notion of not a one-sided top-down relationship, but two people open to learning from each other is so powerful. What we know is that if you are willing to be vulnerable and open up to your student and share the things that you're working towards, they're just as likely to help you as you are to help them. Crazy how that works. So one thing that I love to share is how we're preparing students to meet with you. Just like we're having these orientation and these workshops for you as a mentor, we're also running workshops for students. We're bringing in guest speakers to help teach topics relevant to professional growth, relevant to networking in a genuine way, relevant to getting their foot in the door, relevant to preparing for the interview, relevant to making the most out of that first job or internship. We're bringing in incredible guest speakers like best-selling authors, executives, and people that have just done it before. And so ultimately, we're bringing in great people to help prepare your student for whatever they're about to go through. But as their mentor, you're their Sherpa. You're their Sherpa. You're the person there to help them work through their professional growth outcomes and their professional aspirations. So as they're learning these new skills in these workshops, you are there to kind of help them sift and filter through this content to help them identify the action plan that is most beneficial for them moving forward. We teach students skills like how to get their foot in the door, professional opportunities. I just covered that. But the other thing is the goal of teaching these skills to the students is that we equip them to make progress professionally so then they have options and pathways to their desired careers outside of solely relying on you. It is a lot easier to mentor somebody when you are guiding them as opposed to putting all their eggs in your basket to help them with that internship or job search. Ultimately, what I'm trying to say is we are equipping the students with content and information so then they can really put themselves in the best position to thrive and succeed. And as the mentor, you can guide them as they work towards this. I'm going to take a moment to pause, see if y'all have any questions as of right now. So, Lucas, you asked, Garrett, what are your tips for connecting with the younger college-age generation? Lucas, I mean, really the biggest thing is questions. It's not about you giving advice or sharing necessarily war stories, but it's actually asking them to give you insight as to what they would like to accomplish and just taking the time to actively listen. The best mentors, like I said, ask the best questions, but they also actively listen. really it's not as much about you sharing your experiences, but mostly asking questions. And you can give advice in the form of questions. One example could be, have you ever considered XYZ? You hear something from students, you hear what they're going through, and then you say, hey, have you ever considered XYZ? And maybe they hadn't considered it, maybe they have, but by asking the question as opposed to saying, you know what, you should do this or you should do that. By the way, I'm not a big fan of the shoulds, or if I were you, I would do XYZs. Those are bad ways of giving advice because it creates a hierarchy. It says, I'm above you, I'm not in your shoes, but if I were, I would do this. Instead, I'd highly encourage you to give advice in the form of questions, asking things like, have you considered XYZ topic? That is going to be so much more effective and impactful for your students to actually apply what you're doing, but also shows your students that you're not necessarily saying you know all the answers, and instead allowing them to kind of give you their insights as to what they've tried and not tried before. So I'm a really big fan of active listening and asking questions that get insights into them. Hopefully that answers your question. If you have any elaborate questions after that, please elaborate in the comment section. Seeing if there are any other questions here. Sarah, thank you so much for sharing. Jessica, thank you so much for sharing. Jessica, jump around anyways. Even if you did a 2-hour walk, jump around, shake it out, let it loose, scream at the top of your lungs. Do what you can. Do what you can to get yourself in a physical state conducive for being in a peak performance. Cool. I'm going to jump into the next part, and that is what to expect from the mentor relationship. So we are in the process of facilitating mentor introductions right now for you via email. Please schedule your first conversation with your mentee by March 17th. So you've got a few weeks to get this in, but please work on doing that. Sometimes students are a little apprehensive. Sometimes they're a little introverted. Sometimes they just have never reached out to a professional before. Please also do your due diligence to reach out to your mentee and follow up with them. Second, you can expect your student to have varying degrees of progress towards their career goals. Some of them might already have that job or internship lined up and they're looking already at the next step. Some of them haven't even gotten started yet. They're in a variety of places. Your job as the mentor is just to help them with wherever they're at in their search. So no matter where they're at, your job is just to be helpful, ask questions, and actively listen to them. They are not expecting you to have all the answers for them. I cannot stress this enough. They are not expecting you to have the answers, but instead ask great questions and take the time to listen. You are much more likely to create a lasting and resonating relationship with your mentee. One other thing you can do is we'll be running workshops throughout the course of the semester to teach skills, provide tips, and give insight into how you can improve your relationship with your mentee and answer any question they may have. Megan, my colleague, will send you email updates as to when those workshops will be. They're great. I highly encourage you to attend them. They're just like this. They're live, so you can ask questions. You can interact with us. They're also recorded, so if you can't make them, you can always watch a recording at a later date. The benefit of coming live is that you can actually ask me questions while we're going through this. And lastly, I mentioned this before, but if let's say you are not paired with a mentee this upcoming semester, we do have our mentor blog. There are other ways to engage. If you're also thinking to yourself, shoot, I'd love to set up a mentor program with my company, or I'd love to have a mentor, a fellow leader mentor me, as well as be a mentor to them. Reach out to Megan. We've got a variety of different programs wherever you're at. We'd love to connect with you. We'd love to engage, and we'd love to work with you. But those are all the really key components to this mentor program this upcoming spring. Right now, I'd love to open up the floor for any questions that you may have about this program or being a mentor. If you got any, please post them in the comment section. I'll wait a couple minutes. I know there's like a 30-second lag between when I'm saying it versus when it actually is heard through YouTube. So take a moment, ask any questions you have. If you don't have any questions, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being a mentor in this program for this upcoming spring semester. COVID is a crazy time of year. There's a lot of crazy things going on. Helping your student through this is incredibly rewarding and incredibly impactful. I cited those statistics earlier. Really, it is so powerful what you're doing as a mentor, being there for a student. It is so critical. If you can ask the questions, if you can actively listen, you can really make a big, big impact on a student's life. If y'all have no questions, then I'm so excited for you to get started. I'm excited to get the program going. It looks like there are no questions. So, we do have a question. Awesome. Jessica, should we contact our mentees or wait for them to contact us first? Definitely contact your mentees, reach out. I'm a big fan of letting it go both ways. You know, I think students sometimes can be a little apprehensive. They can be a little introverted. They can be a little not equipped to reach out to their mentors quite yet. So if you're in a scenario where your student has not reached out to you yet, reach out to the other side. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, it is a mutual relationship. Like I said, it's not one-sided, it's horizontal. It's two people open to learning from each other, including you. So reach out to your mentee, and obviously, hopefully they reach out to you as well. But if it goes both sides, it's much more likely to get off to a great start. Lucas, what is your best case outcome for a mentor-mentee relationship? I mean, best case outcomes vary. One example, there's this young woman named Jasmine. She was actually getting her MBA. She got her undergraduate degree, pursued a career, and it just was not the right fit for her. So she ended up pursuing an MBA in organizational healthcare. It was rather an MBA with a focus on healthcare essentially healthcare organizations. And she was coming to her final semester. She didn't have a job. She was kind of demoralized. She thought, well, shoot, I wanted to get into the space all along. I thought getting my MBA would be the solution to this. And now she's coming to her final semester and she just did not have that opportunity. So she connected with her mentor. Now, her mentor was not in healthcare. Her mentor was in a totally different field. In fact, her mentor was in public relations, but he knew somebody who was within a hospital system, and he made that connection. And he worked with her as she was working through her own goals and aspirations. And that hospital connection ended up leading to another connection in that hospital. And that connection ended up offering her a job. And now she's doing the work that she loves within her area of education. And it's incredible. That's one story that's just an awesome, I love sharing that story. But other stories include, there's a freshman that we're working with, or she was a freshman. Now she's actually a senior. It's crazy how long we've been doing this. But when she was a freshman, she was in this program and she connected with her mentor, and she was in marketing, and her mentor was also in marketing. And, for her, she really didn't even know what her first step would be for her career path. And she ended up meeting with her mentor, and her mentor just really helped listen to her, helped answer her questions, really helped her feel confident to reach out to other professionals on LinkedIn. And this student ended up landing her internship via LinkedIn on her own over that summer between her freshman and sophomore year. And now she's a senior and she's crushing it. But for her, she became incredibly confident. She went from like, I'm a freshman, I couldn't possibly land an internship, to landing an internship after her freshman year, and just feeling confident that she did it herself. Like, she did the outreach, she did the conversations. Her mentor was there to support her, but her mentor asked her questions and encouraged her and saw something in her that maybe she didn't see in herself. And that's just another incredible outcome that we've seen from these mentor bonds and relationships. Julie, if I haven't received a mentee yet, does this mean I will not be getting one this semester? That's not quite accurate quite yet. I know there are some lagging students that we're still filtering in. We had a couple of delayed students join the program, and so we want to get them involved. So there's a chance that you might be paired with a mentee this upcoming semester. But if you're not, like I said, if you would love to share your insight, we would love to have your insight in our mentor blog and our guest blog, if you're open to sharing it. We also have corporate and executive mentor programs. I don't know if that's relevant to your work, but if so, please reach out to Megan. We'd love to share with you more about our other programs that we run and see if that might be a fit for your company or for your work. But yeah, I'm so grateful that you all could be here. If y'all have any other questions, or if I didn't answer any questions properly, please let me know. But otherwise, I'm so grateful that you all are here. I'm so grateful to be working with you this upcoming spring semester. You're doing incredible work, and I'm so excited to learn how your experiences go throughout the semester. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Thank you all for being here.